living with type 1, there's, you don't really see that somebody is not well with that because it's internal. But there are days that I don't have the energy really to get out of the bed. But I do find that it was even worse before I changed this lifestyle. Like there was the depression. I could just go to bed and just sleep for hours, even days if I would have been allowed, and didn't have to get up and go to work. I call it not situational, but like I was living with depression. I would get up, go through the motions, go to work, but as soon as I got home, I'm in the bed. Don't talk to me. I wanted to hide from the world, and I was just barely even just surviving, you know. But now I'm able to face the world a whole lot better.
Angela, could you tell us about your health journey and how did you discover carnivore?
Well, it's been kind of a long journey. First of all, I live with type 1 diabetes, so that was like a whole other booger bear, I guess you could say. Um, I would do low carb, and I'd do low carb and lose 15 pounds, then gain 30. You know, just the roller coaster ride of that. And eventually, I had ballooned up to, at my highest, I think I was right under 300 pounds, and I was so inflamed. It was crazy. And I'm very open about this. I even on my Instagram it even says, VSG. I ended up having the VSG, the gastric sleeve, surgery, and I know that gets a lot of, oh, that's the easy way out, whatever. But I did lose quite a bit of weight on that. Probably that was it. That was in 2019, going into 2020 when everybody was shut down. And for the first time in my life, everybody was gaining weight and I'm actually losing. I'm like, well, this is weird. But I started out not being able to eat anything but a lot of liquids. And then I was like, well, you can't do this forever. And so I had seen a lot of carnivore stuff out there, and I was like, well, I'm going to give it a try because there's a lot of people who had the same surgery I did and they were gaining their weight back. And so I was terrified of that. I'm like, this is my one shot. I cannot gain this weight back. Like, I cannot do this. So started out keto and then just kind of eased into the carnivore. More than just low carb, it was like strict carnivore. Like I was literally like the steak and butter guy, like literally eating butter, doing all the things. And it really did. I felt better. I felt the diabetes is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. Unfortunately, I still have to very much monitor that, but I feel like the control is better. Like, I don't crave. If I go off track and I mess up, okay, yeah, let's be honest, I will crave junk. But if I stay strictly on the butter, the meats, um, very high fat, it's like I don't even crave it. It's like the salt and the butter just like satiates that feeling of for sweets. And like I say, it hasn't cured the type 1. I don't know what if there is a cure for that, but it has helped me manage it quite a bit. And I can say that I've been able to maintain my weight instead of, I hear people say, oh, carbs is not the enemy. You can have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, carbs is the enemy. It is my enemy. I'm not saying it's everybody's enemy. It is my enemy. It's what ended me up on the surgery table at almost 300 pounds. So it's just like an alcoholic has to stay away from, the bar. I have to stay away from carbs. I can't go to buffets. I can't. There's just some things they're non-negotiables. I can't do that anymore because when I do it, I can feel it immediately. Like you start getting inflamed, you start the cravings. It's just a domino effect. Yeah. So that's kind of how I got started. And then I just kind of maintain that. And I go between, you probably seen in my recipes and stuff, I go between keto and carnivore. Earlier in the year, I ended up getting braces. So a lot of meat is hard for me to eat right now. So I'm having to do like cottage cheese, but I do full fat cottage cheese or full fat Greek yogurt, things that are softer. Of course, the butter's soft and everything. I'm not able to eat a lot of real dense meat right now because it does really hurt my mouth. But I plan on, as soon as these things come off, probably next year, middle towards the next year, being back on that full force because I miss my bacon something fierce. But it's really hard to eat the bacon right now. Yeah.
Gotcha. And how tall are you?
Like 5'5", 5'5", 5'5.5", something like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you've got type 1 diabetes. You were previously 300 pounds. If you don't mind me asking, how much weight have you lost on Carnivore?
I I have finally gotten down to like I'm between like 139, 140, 40-ish, which for me is like perfect. Um, so I mean over 100 pounds for sure. Yeah,
Wow,
because I
that's
was like right at um I was like teetering on the 300-pound mark. And when I watched that show, 600-Pound Life, it freaks me out because I'm like, I was half of that. I was like, there's no way that I would have even, my body could have lived to get that big. Like, I don't even see how they're doing it. Like, I don't see how they do it. I guess closer to 160 pounds is really what I lost. Yeah. So
yeah,
I didn't even realize the numbers on that until you asked that. I was like, I always say like I've lost 100 pounds, but I realized it's quite a bit more than that. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Congratulations on your transformation. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And like I say, I know I always am squeamish to say, even though I'm very honest about it, I'm squeamish to say that I had the weight loss surgery because, like I said, it has such a stigma. But it was really just, it was just a tool to help me get there. But it doesn't keep you there, and I've seen that from the community. That like I say, they're easing back into the alcohol, back into the sweets, back into everything, and before you know it, And I was just like, I financially, I can't do that again. I can't afford another surgery or another this or that. Like this is my last and final chance. It's like I have to get it with this. So, and this diet has really helped me maintain everything that I lost. It's helping me maintain it for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
awesome. I
Yeah.
was just curious, when the doctors presented you with the option of having surgery, did they ever talk about lifestyle or diet as an option?
Never. Never. In fact, when I would go to my endocrinologist, they'd always, they want me to always go to their silly little nutritional classes, which is the carb counting. And you can have so much of them of, the mashed potatoes and the just anything, as long as you count the carbs, pretty much they'll let you eat anything and like fruits. And, it's just ridiculous how no one ever said to me, I mean, yeah, they would say lower carb, but they still wanted you to have carbs. 15 grams is a serving. And boy, if you have 15 grams at a meal and you eat 3 times a day, what? That's quite a bit of carbs a day. And most people on a normal diet are going to have way more than 15 carbs in a serving, in a setting. So I feel like the Diabetes Association, maybe not knowingly, but they set you up for failure. Honestly. Yeah. It I can't eat that way. It's just not, it was not, it was, I was gaining weight. I do good for a little bit and then I would just spiral out of control because it's just a little bit of mashed potatoes. I don't know about you, but I am like I'm an abstainer. They said some people are moderators. I am not a moderator. I have to abstain because I don't want just a little serving of mashed potatoes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I can't have a little bit of blueberries or a little bit of chocolate. I just want more. And I think there's just something about carbs that make you crave them more, or crave sugar. Like you just can't get away from it. I think some people can moderate, and if they can do that, that's awesome. But I find it better just to stay away from carbs, and that's where I feel my best.
Yes. Yes, I agree 100%.
Mm.
And I'm also, and people are starting to talk more about this. More and more, I hear it on social media. But I'm in my middle ages. I just turned 46, and when I was 30, I had to have a complete hysterectomy. So that sent me into automatic menopause. And I didn't realize it. Now looking back on it, I can see that the high carb diet really wreaks havoc on your hormones as well. I mean, it causes the hot flashes. It causes artificial, even like when I do like the artificial waters or sodas or whatever, and I have to, if I drink one, it has to be diet, unfortunately. But I noticed that it can cause like hot flashes to come on. It's so weird. Like if I stay strict carnivore, I feel like that the, I guess, what do you call it? Menopause symptoms are more at bay. They stay more at bay. Yeah, it's not as bad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was when you first heard about carnivore, was it a particular person or was it like a YouTube video or a book? How did you hear about it originally?
Actually, my first introduction to it, a friend told me about it, and she was like, "Oh, Angie, you should look into this." They introduced me to Dr. Berry, Nisha, and Dr. Kim Berry. Yes, that is how I first heard about it. And I mean, I am one of these people that once I hear about something, I just go whole hog, like all into it. And I was listening to their podcast. Um, like they do their Monday night podcast, I'd get on and listen, and I just couldn't get enough information. Like they were just telling, I would listen, and then whatever they were eating, I'd go and buy it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eat what they're eating, and started just really reading the labels and really seeing, oh my goodness, these so-called keto treats are not really keto treats. They're like they still will literally say whole wheat or whole whatever, like it there, and they say it in the ingredients. Like you can read it and it literally tells you that you might as well have the real thing. It's not even. I learned so much from Dr. Berry, and I still listen to him and Bella from the Steak and Butter Gang. I follow her, and Courtney Luna, of course, love her. That's where I got most of my information from, and it's kind of what got the ball rolling. And but I would have to say that the berries are definitely the ones who got me started, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Have your friends and family reacted to you being on carnivore?
Well, most of them love it. Most of them love it. My mom, sometimes she'll just look at me like when I go home and I'm like, I want the fatty steak, or I want to eat all the fat or the butter. She's just like, okay. Cause see, my dad was type 1 diabetic. He ended up dying. Unfortunately, he passed. He was on dialysis. I'll backtrack here. That was probably my first turning point for me to realize that something had to be done, watching my dad die. He was on dialysis for many years, longer than a lot of people are. A lot of people die much sooner. So I will say that, but, he did not take care of himself at all. And seeing him die did something to me. And I just said, I don't want to go that way. Like I cannot do that to my kids, to myself. It's just, I don't want that. So that was the first turning point when I started kind of like looking into what I can do to make changes. And the carnivore kind of, like I say, kind of fell in my lap when someone handed me, sent me the videos of the berries. But what was the question again? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
Your friends and family, how have they
Oh,
reacted?
yes. So the butter, my mom would be like, because my dad would never eat like that. She says, there's no way he could eat like that and be on dialysis. And I was like, well, me and her, sometimes we've gotten arguments because I'd be like, well, maybe if he would have, he could have avoided the dialysis or avoided this or that, because I really feel like it seems so grotesque for people. They're just like, oh, you're eating butter, you're eating fat. Oh, and they're just like, you're going to die. Funny story is, when I was just talking about my hormones, I recently did what is called bioidentical hormones, where they do the pellets, where they do the they do the lab work, find out exactly what you need, and they give you their exact amount of progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone for your body. So I did that. So before that, they do lab work, right? Well, I went to see this doctor that I'd never seen before. He's kind of like a concierge type doctor, and he specializes in the hormones. So he was like, he knew I was type 1, right? He was like, are you on what do you call it, cholesterol medicine? And I said, no, sir, not. He goes, are you sure? And I was like, never. He goes, he just couldn't fathom that my A1C was a little elevated, because it's like at a 7. It stays at about a 7. It's been really, really hard for me to get it below a 7, and I don't know if I ever will. But 7 is still good for a type 1. It was so hard for him to fathom that I had an A1C of a 7, but my cholesterol, he said, was very low. He goes, it's one of the lowest cholesterols I've ever seen. There's no way you can't be on a medicine. And I said, well, I guess in a way I am on a medicine. I treat it with food, and he was just like, I was like, I'm on a very, very, very low carb, high fat diet. And I said, if my cholesterol is low, I attribute it to that. So I would have to pull up my lab results to see exactly how low it was. But I will tell you, he was just like, he couldn't believe it. He was just like, there's no way you have to be on meds. So I know that it's definitely played a role in that. Like it made that better, So that's a huge testimony right there. And I tell my family that too. I'm like, well, I may die of a lot of things, but I feel like it's not going to be a heart attack. I don't know. Maybe I could, I guess. But I said, I bet my cholesterol is better than y'all's, because some of them do give me a hard time about it. And other people, they're like, they see how much better I feel, and they're just like, keep doing what you're doing, but you're always going to have the naysayers that are just like, there's no way. But, and what's funny about those naysayers? And I am not, please understand, coming from 300 pounds, I am not fat shaming. I would never fat shame. But a lot of them are extremely overweight, giving me weight loss advice, and they are extremely overweight. It is mind-boggling to me that they have the audacity to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've had so many comments from like people at work saying, oh, you're eating too many eggs, or your cholesterol is going to be really high. But then they come to me now for weight loss or fat loss advice. I find that quite amusing.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. And they do sometimes change their tune because they get desperate. And I think, sometimes it just takes a bad report from the doctor, and then they're just like, well, maybe I'll talk to Angie or Todd or whoever and see what I need to do to change. Because I think sometimes it does take that bad report for them to be like, oh, I got to change my path here. I know for me it did. It certainly did, because I was scared to death. When you're so inflamed, you can look back at my pictures and just see how inflamed I was. And it's just like, I'm just a walking stroke or heart attack. And I don't even know. And now, I sat behind a desk for many years on my job, and now I work in mental health, and I'm on my feet minimal 8 hours, sometimes 16 hours. And if you would have told me back at 250, 270 pounds that I was going to be working on my feet for 16 hours, I'd have been like, you are a liar. First of all, you're crazy. No, never. And now it's like, I don't even think about it. Even other people are like, Angie, how are you on your feet so much? And I'm just like, you don't even think about it. You just do it. And I could have never done that without, this lifestyle change. Could have never done it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. And mental health is another thing. Even at the hospital that I work at, they feed these people, it's funny, their heart healthy diet is so full of carbs. And these people, they're on these crazy amounts of meds, just all kinds of meds. And I really believe, and I'm no doctor, but I really believe that a lot of them, if they could just switch their mindset over to eating properly, a lot of it could be changed with just a diet change. I feel like a lot of them could get off of some of their, maybe not all, but some of them could have a better quality of life if they would just change the way they're eating. Even mental health is everything. Even for me, I've suffered with, the bipolar runs in my family, and high anxiety levels and just things. And I've noticed that when I'm eating better, when I'm making better choices, I feel like the anxiety levels are lower, and I'm not feeling like a crazy person, like bipolar, symptoms, manic, all the things. I don't know. I don't know if there's some science behind that or not, but I really feel like that it could help the mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. I've found a huge difference in myself switching to carnivore. Like, I don't suffer from brain fog or anxiety or depression. Like, It's just much easier to get things done. Like I don't procrastinate anymore. I don't know if you've found that yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because living with type 1, there's you don't really see that somebody is not well with that because it's internal. But there are days that I don't have the energy really to get out of the bed. But I do find that it was even worse before I changed this lifestyle. Like there was the depression. I could just go to bed and just sleep for hours, even days if I would have been allowed, and didn't have to get up and go to work. I call it not situational, but like I was living with depression. I would get up, go through the motions, go to work, but as soon as I got home, I'm in the bed. Don't talk to me. I wanted to hide from the world, and I was just barely even just surviving, you know. But now I'm able to face the world a whole lot better. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, for sure.
When you started on Carnivore, how long did you start to notice and feel a difference in yourself?
Well, I will tell you that this was the first thing that I noticed because even though I've lost a ton of weight, I tend to, for some reason, I will sometimes retain fluid like in my legs, like in my ankles sometimes. Um, and the first thing I started noticing is that I was going to the bathroom more, like I was peeing more. I don't know if I could say that, but I would, and the fluid would come off of my legs a lot faster. Like it wasn't like I wouldn't have to take as much water pills like I was doing. For something about that flushes you out, like you're not holding on to fluid. Um, that was the first thing I noticed, which was a huge win for me. And just the bloating, that I guess that's I don't know. I guess that all ties in together. But I just felt less bloated, and I just felt like my scrub skirts and everything just fit so much better. Like I was able to I don't know, everything fit better. I felt when things fit better, you feel better. Like when you're not having to like suck it in or whatever. But that was a huge realization for me is that oh my gosh, I can I can have these eggs with butter and cheese, and it seems so naughty, but I can eat it and I feel better, and like I'm looking better and the clothes are fitting better. I don't know. It's like a miracle. It's like a miracle drug, but it's just food.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
I heard on a podcast the other day, someone referred to as carnivore as a natural or nature's Ozempic, just a more natural way of getting the same results,
Yeah.
just without the side effects, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. For sure. Yeah, and I've heard a couple of girls talking about the negative effects they had from that. So yeah, yeah.
Angela, if someone came to you and said, "Look, I want to try carnivore. I want to do it for 30 days," how would you recommend they go about it?
So I would say, okay, first of all, and I learned this from the berries. Again, I have to give them credit. Before you start, make sure you got you some good electrolytes because you're going to need that. I like the Element. That's what they use. I like it. They have so many flavors. Make sure you got that. And then start slowly. Start with some eggs, however you like them. Um, I kind of went through an egg aversion. So I kind of have to be in the mood for eggs right now. But that's generally what I would say to start with scrambled or fried, however you like them. Um, I know hardcore carnivore doesn't really consist of cheese, but I would tell them have a little cheese in the beginning if you want and slowly ease off of it if you need to. Um, I still drink my coffee. I still drink it, but I'll only put like uh, a little half and half or heavy cream. I'm never going to be a black coffee drinker ever. So I tried that and it didn't work for me. But I would encourage them to don't feel like you got to go giving up your coffee or whatever, and stick with fatty meats for satiation. Um, I like ribeye. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but for me personally, a good old fashioned ribeye. Go to your local market. There's a market close to my job, and sometimes I'll go there when I get off in the mornings when they mark everything down from the day before that's about to go bad, so you can cook it or freeze it. And I mean, because carnivore can be expensive, meat's expensive. That's the first thing I tell them. Go to your local market, find out when they mark stuff down, and go there on that day so that you can, you know, get a little bit and freeze it and make sure you have meat. Ground beef has been my friend. I could cook ground beef so many different ways. You can do everything with it. Uh, I mean, ground beef and eggs, ground beef and, you know, I don't know, just however you want to cook it. I've because I had weight loss surgery, I haven't, for some reason, like a burger hurts my stomach, but if it's ground, even though it's the same thing, I can eat it much better. I don't know why, but so I stock up on that. I also like ground um, pork because for some reason the ground pork has a sweetness to it, and I love that. And so if you just need a different texture or taste, pile up on some ground pork. Um, Make sure you never leave the house without something. I call that what they Anisha calls it the purse bacon. I would always have purse bacon in my purse and a little baggie. That way, if you go out somewhere, or cheese sticks or the carnivore crisp or just their whatever it is, that's in your budget, but have something in your purse that will keep you from running through McDonald's or Arby's or wherever y'all go, Wendy's, whatever you go through. Um, that's the thing, because when you get caught hungry, that's when the pitfalls happen. That's when you're like, oh, I'll go have a chicken nugget or milkshake or whatever, and then you're prepared. Then you don't have an excuse. I would always have little, and still to this day, I'll have little snack boxes where I'll do like little sausages, maybe some cheese. Obviously, I'm not anti-cheese, but some type of cheese, and then maybe like pickles. I love pickles too, and I don't really know. That's where the keto comes in. It's more like ketovore for me because I'll do like pickles, the sour ones. Um, I'm not a big veggie person. Occasionally we'll have broccoli. Occasionally I'll have like cauliflower rice, but I don't know if I could consciously tell someone to do that, but maybe just have a little bit and slowly back up off of it till you're comfortable just eating the meat. But soft boiled eggs. That's like what they call those, the candy eggs. I love. Okay, those I can still eat now. I don't have an aversion to those. Like the soft boiled eggs, and put them in a baggie, and then they're like they're kind of jammy on the inside, and you just eat it like candy. It's so good. I highly recommend having that in a baggie. Yeah, that's. Sorry, my thoughts are just kind of just all over the place today, but
that's okay.
Yeah, I should have made a list of the foods. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things is those the soft boiled eggs. I've never been a big hard boiled egg person, so once I discovered those, I was like, whoa, this is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I can't do hard boiled eggs. They're just kind of too dry. They're just not really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
the runny eggs, yeah, they're awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Nice.
But yeah, I would tell them just start, just one day at a time, but be prepared. Meal prepping is everything. If you don't meal prep, I feel like you are setting yourself up for failure. And like for me, I work in the healthcare field, so we only get like 30-minute breaks. So it's not a whole lot of time to be running through a drive-through anyway. But it seems like they're always bringing crap food to work, cupcakes, cakes, chips, dip. And if I don't bring something, I'll be like, oh, I'll have just a little bit. And then next thing you know, I've done sabotaged my whole day with, chips and dip and all the things. So make sure you make your own, have your own snack food that's carnivore, keto friendly, because otherwise work will sabotage us big time. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I work part-time in my friend's cafe, and all day I'm being offered, cheesecake, donuts, pastries. I've got to say, look, I'm good. No, thank you. But I found that bringing my own food to work, so I'm actually feel physically full, it's easy just to say no.
Oh, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I have gone to my local butcher and had them, and I actually like this better than bacon, and I'm actually able to eat this more right now in this season, with the braces season. But the rendered fat from like the steaks that they cut off, like the fat that they cut off, and a lot of times they just throw it away. You can go up there and they will put it in a container for you, very, very, very cheap, and you fry it up kind of crispy. And I actually like it better than bacon. And it's you just get that, you just feel like you're eating something naughty, like you shouldn't have it. And so therefore you eat it. And gosh, I probably lost a ton of weight just eating that. I went through a phase where I just ate that like all the time. And so go to your local butcher and have them cut you some of that and just fry it up. I'm telling you what, it is so good. So good.
Awesome. Oh yeah, I'll have to try that.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Like it's like the pieces of like the big roast, or the big ribeyes that they cut, the prime ribs, and they just cut all the fat off. And I don't know, some farms come and get them for their animals, but you can also have them, call them and they'll put some up for you. And it's like I say, it's very cheap that they sell it to you for.
Nice. Angela, what social media are you on? How can people reach out to you?
So I'm on Instagram is the main one that I do my weight loss stuff on, as far as like recipes and carnivore stuff. Facebook is really, I'm on Facebook, but I rarely put anything. I just usually keep that for, friends and family, even though friends and family are on my Instagram, but I try not to bombard everybody with it. But I do it on Instagram. It's Angie Gail, ANGEEGAIL .vsg .ketovorish. I know it's kind of long, right? But because I know I can't say I'm 1,000% carnivore right now. I do a lot of keto, so I'm just like ketovorish. I may change it up later. Once braces get off, I plan on going whole hog back, completely carnivore. But yeah, and I would never. I get very. You mentioned the social media. I know that some people do have to. Maybe social media is their way of making a living, but for me, I just feel like we have a brain and we can think up these things. And I would never in a million years charge somebody to give them a recipe or to help them better their life. I'm not going to, that's what the doctors are for. That you go see them and say you want to give some money away. But I feel like as a community, if you ever have questions or ever need, anything, I am here. Yeah, I would love to. And that's like a hobby for me. I love to talk to people about helping them, give them some meal ideas or lifestyle ideas to help them pull out of the slump they're in, to get them, more healthy. So yeah, that is something I would never do, is charge anyone anything. Cause I mean, you can Google it anyways. You can Google it for free. So like I say, and I don't down anybody that does, cause I know people that is their way of making a living. For me, it's not. But I would love if, anyone has questions or just needs to, encouragement, on how to stay focused. I mean, I'm here, I'm here for that.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a great carnivore community on social media, and I feel over the years, as social media has increased, the world's sort of gotten smaller. It's like people can reach out to others a lot easier now.
Yeah. And I want to give this caveat. I don't want anyone to ever think, oh, she had weight loss surgery, so this is so, easy for her. That's the thing I want to get across so strongly, is that so many of the weight loss surgery people have gained their weight back, and they struggle with that. And I did gain some weight back, and I lost it through this way of eating, through carnivore, through keto. That's what keeps me from getting it back 1,000%. Because I'm telling you, if I go off the rails, it's coming back. The surgery ain't going to help me, So I want everyone to understand that. Yes, that was a tool to jumpstart me, in the right direction. I needed that for my health, for my physical ailment that I deal with the type 1, but it is not what's kept me. This lifestyle, this carnivore, ketovore lifestyle is what has kept me 1000%. Yep.
So you mentioned you had the surgery, you lost the weight, but then you gained it back again. What were the kind of the main foods you were eating to achieve the weight loss?
I ate a ton of eggs. I would do scrambled. That's kind of where I kind of got the egg aversion. I ate too many eggs, but I would do scrambled eggs. Oh, like egg salad, like, you know, I would use the Primal brand of mayonnaise that doesn't have any sugar or anything. It's made very clean ingredients. It's a little more expensive, but trust me, it is worth it. I would do that. I had a lot of ribeyes. I'd go and buy the ribeyes on sale, and I would just eat them and cut them up into small pieces, make sure they had good fat on them, and take them with me in little baggies like the bacon. And I ate a ton of that, lots of butter. And I got out of the habit, but for a while I was making my own butter, and it was so fun because you can just do it however you want to do it. And I love that. But yeah, the steak, the egg, the rendered beef fat, like I was telling you, I buy that and eat that. And I know it's just basically just frying little crispy pieces of fat, and it's not as crispy as the bacon, but it's still kind of got that fatty, satisfying feel to it. So those are probably the main things. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just very basic, very, very basic. In fact, you would almost just be like, it's so boring. And a lot of ground beef. I do a lot of ground beef, and I would make like I did do this. And again, I know if you're strict carnivore, this might go against the rules, but I would make like gravy with butter and heavy cream and a little Parmesan cheese. And I would put that in my ground beef and like make like little, like beef and gravy. I would eat that a lot. So that's something that really, but it kept me afloat, and it helped me lose the weight. It sure did.
Awesome.
Yep.
Angela, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And like I say, if y'all, reach out, if y'all need help, trying to get started, to stay encouraged or whatever, I occasionally will post reels with recipes and fun things. So yeah. And like I say, I look forward to getting these off because I'm looking forward to eating my ribeyes daily again. That was a treat. So thank you so much for having me on.
No worries. Thanks again, Angela.
Yes, sir.
I'll leave a link to your social media in the description of the video as well.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.